just one of those things. The final thing, sometimes I do let them air dry, but now since it is pretty cloudy, it's actually raining outside. In order for me to get the boot as dry as this, there is no sticky parts, or there's nothing about this that has anything unfinished, because I did put a heat gun to this and dried all of this off. On this side, I do have some sticky portions right here where the actual leather preservative did not bind as well. So all I'm gonna do is put a heat gun right to it. Also on the top portion here, as you can see, it gets really shiny, where I do need to put a little bit more heat onto it and just continue to work it. Once it gets nice and hot, and most of those portions where the actual heat does hit it and it looks like it's kind of wet, just like up here, once it dries off, then this is all good to go. This is one of my more finished boots. I'll let this sit, and this is what I'm going to be wearing on Monday. Now, as far as this boot here, this boot is a lot stickier, and it still has some of that leather preservative, but overall across the entirety of the boot, everything is normal. Once I apply the actual heat to it, it starts to cook that leather preservative, and you start to see those wet spots, and that's normal. That's what happens when you put some heat to the leather preservative, especially on those kind of like spots right there where my boot bends, the wrinkles right there. You start to see it come out. That's normal. And then I just continue doing that to the entirety of the boot. Continue just going back and forth. I find those places like this where it's nice and shiny, and just continue to hit it. As far as here, you can see the moisture coming out, and basically that is just heating up, and it's leaving those little corners, and it's trying to bond into the actual leather itself. And then I'll let that do its job, and then I'll apply more heat to it. Once I apply more heat to it, a few little spots will come back and forth. But if I do want to add a little bit more leather preservative to it, I can definitely do that at this time. And this boot is good to go. I do have the other two that I have to do. I'm not gonna add any more leather preservative to these. These I might add a little bit more just to the top right here, because they do have marks in between where it's a lot heavier use. Once this leather preservative dried off, it tells me that it could use a little bit more on this portion here. The top portion on this one is not as worn out as it is on this one, so this one is good. I just got to dry this off. These other two are a little bit heavier use, but we'll see once I finish putting the blow dryer to this. And I like to stick my hand in here just because the blow dryer is hot. And this is a really fast process. You don't want to keep the heat on there too long. Just want those where the actual seams are, and the actual string that binds the two pieces together of the leather, like the top portion here and this, all those strings, the little areas, they'll start to get wet, and then that'll immediately dry off, and then that's it. Just work it, bring it back around towards the front, make sure you keep that front up, and then move all the way across. Cool. I'm done with this pair of boots. These are good to go. I'll definitely let these dry out. These are not as worn as my original pair right here. I am going to add a little bit more towards the front here and then use the heat gun, but you can see how this process takes a minute. It is almost instant once you put the heat gun to it, because it dries everything and it gives you that really nice treated leather here, which I would have to add a little bit more leather preservative and then use the blow dryer to get it looking to this. But because this piece of leather is a lot more heavy use, it does rub off a lot of the leather portion of it. It's almost close to the actual composite toe. So I'm never gonna get this piece of leather looking as clean as this. This just happens to have not as much use as this one has. So I hope that was helpful. And if you guys are having adding some leather preservative and it's not sitting in there, it might be because of the actual climate of your state. So it needs to be a sunnier place like Florida, Alabama, Georgia area. But if you live in the Washington state or Oregon state, it does get cloudy over here a lot and it rains. So you're not gonna let these sit overnight, and the actual leather preservative is not gonna work its way in. So a heat gun will help do that process, and it'll speed it up, and it'll tell you once it dries off and it bonds into the leather, it will show you that you can add some more here in this area. And this area is good because it's a different boot and you won't have to add the actual leather preservative to this.